Okay, let's dive in. Welcome, everyone, to the Deep Dive. This is where we take the topics, the questions, the info you send our way, and really try to make some sense of it all.
Get through the noise.
Exactly. And today, oh boy, we are wading into the, let's say, interesting world of pet nutrition myths. It gets pretty wild out there.
It really does.
Our mission, should we choose to accept it, is basically to cut through that noise, sniff out what's actually based on, facts, and help you figure out how to feed your furry pals without falling for every fad. We've looked at the stuff you flagged, trending diets, how to read those totally not confusing labels, and yeah, how to resist those soul-piercing eyes begging at the dinner table.
And it's so important because honestly, there's just so much misinformation floating around online, right? Clever marketing, influencer trends. It can seriously lead well-meaning pet owners down a path that's, well, not great for their animals' health.
Right, it's not just about what's popular.
No, it's about understanding the actual science behind pet nutrition. That's what leads to long, healthy lives, not just, the latest thing you saw on Instagram.
Couldn't have said it better.
No.
So let's get straight into it. Let's tackle some of these big myths head on and see what the evidence actually suggests.
Let's do it.
Okay, myth number one. This one's huge lately. The idea that raw food diets are the best, maybe even the only proper way to feed your dog or cat.
Ah, yes, the back to nature argument.
Exactly. It sounds so appealing, right? Like you're giving them what their wild ancestors ate. Pure, natural, perfect.
Well, that's the logic presented. Wolves eat raw, so my fluffy poodle should too. But there's a bit of a disconnect there when you look closer.
Ooh, too
The
tough.
material we looked at points out something pretty crucial. Yes, wild animals eat raw. They also, generally speaking, have much shorter lifespans than our pampered pets.
That's a really good point. I hadn't quite thought of it that way.
Yeah, and a big reason our pets live longer now is because of advances in veterinary care and nutrition. We've actually learned how to feed them for longevity.
So chasing that wild diet might not actually lead to a longer, healthier life in our modern homes.
Interesting. And weren't there some pretty serious risks mentioned with raw feeding too?
Oh, absolutely. That's a major concern highlighted. Raw meat, even stuff meant for human consumption, can carry bacteria like Salmonella and E. coli.
Yikes.
Yeah, yikes is right. And while some pets might handle it okay, maybe these bacteria are a serious health risk. Not just for the pet eating it, but for the humans in the house too.
How so?
Think about cross-contamination. You're handling raw meat, washing bowls. If you're not incredibly careful, those pathogens can spread around your kitchen, onto surfaces, onto you, onto kids.
Okay, that adds a whole other layer of concern. It's a public health thing too, potentially.
Definitely. And there was this pretty stark analogy used to describe feeding raw without being super knowledgeable about balancing the diet and handling it safely.
What was it? It called it playing Russian roulette with your pet's intestines.
Wow. Okay, that's memorable. Doesn't exactly scream safe and healthy choice.
Not exactly. It really underscores the potential dangers if things go wrong, which is why the general preference leans towards options like cooked, balanced, homemade meals formulated by a nutritionist or high-quality commercial foods.
Because those are designed for safety and long-term nutritional balance.
Precisely. They've undergone processes to kill pathogens and are formulated to provide everything the pet needs consistently.
So why does this matter to you listening? Well, understanding these risks, the bacteria, the potential for imbalance versus the sort of romanticized idea of natural is crucial. It could save you a lot of heartache and, yeah, some hefty vet bills from a preventable illness.
Absolutely. It's about informed choices, not just following a trend.
Okay, moving right along. Myth number two, another one that's just everywhere. Grain-free food is automatically healthier. Grains are bad. Carbs are evil. Get them out of there.
The carbs of the underworld, apparently. Exactly. You see it marketed so heavily. Grain-free this, grain-free that, implying it's superior.
Yeah, the claim is strong. But the reality, most pets, the vast majority actually, tolerate grains perfectly fine. They digest them well. They utilize the energy. Grains aren't inherently evil.
They're just another ingredient.
Pretty much. They provide carbohydrates, some protein, fiber, other nutrients. Like any ingredient, quality matters, but the category itself isn't the villain it's often made out to be.
And didn't the material mention something kind of worrying that popped up specifically with some grain-free diets?
Yes, and this is important. Certain grain-free formulations, particularly those using high levels of peas, lentils, other legumes, or potatoes as the main carb source instead of grains, have been investigated for a potential link to a heart condition in dogs called dilated cardiomyopathy, or DCM.
Okay, wow, so switching away from grains might have introduced a whole different problem in some cases. It's complex, and research is ongoing to understand the exact mechanism it could be, the ingredients themselves, how they interact, how they affect nutrient absorption like taurine. But the association is there, and it certainly challenges the idea that grain-free equals healthier across the board.
It really does.
Yeah.
It shows you can't just take something out without considering what you're putting in instead.
Exactly. And another key point, true grain allergies in pets. They're actually not that common.
Really, you hear about them all the time.
I know. But when pets have food allergies or sensitivities, it's much, much more likely to be a reaction to a protein source like chicken, beef, dairy than it is to corn or wheat or rice.
Huh. So people might be switching to expensive grain-free food, thinking it's an allergy solution when the problem is actually the chicken in both the old and new food.
It happens all the time. Vets see it constantly. Owners switch foods based on marketing, not a proper diagnosis.
So the takeaway here for you is pretty clear. Unless your vet has specifically diagnosed a grain allergy or sensitivity in your pet, which is relatively rare, there's likely no health benefit to switching to grain-free.
And you might be spending more money unnecessarily, while potentially even introducing a different unintended risk factor depending on the formulation. Talk to your vet first.
Always comes back to the vet, doesn't it? Okay, let's tackle the confusion of the pet food aisle itself. Myth number 3. Fancy words on the bag like all natural or premium mean it's top-tier stuff.
Ah, the power of marketing buzzwords.
They sound so good. Holistic, ancestral, gourmet.
They really do. But here's the kicker. Many of these terms have very loose or sometimes no legal or nutritional definition in the pet food world. All natural, for instance.
What does that actually mean?
It basically just means the ingredients came from plant, animal, or mine sources and weren't chemically synthesized in a lab. It says nothing about the quality of those ingredients or if the final diet is balanced or complete.
So technically, sawdust could be all natural.
Technically, yes, and premium, or super premium.
Let me guess. Mostly means a premium price.
You got it. There's no official standard linking those words to nutritional superiority. It's largely just marketing fluff to make you feel good about spending more.
Okay, so if we ignore the fancy poetry on the front of the bag, what should we be looking for? What's the real indicator of quality assurance?
The single most important thing to find on that label is the nutritional adequacy statement, often called the AAFCO statement.
AAFCO, Association of American Feed Control Officials.
Exactly. Finding a statement that says the food is formulated to meet the nutritional levels established by the AAFCO dog or cat, food nutrient profiles for a specific life stage like adult maintenance or growth. That's key.
And what does that AAFCO statement actually guarantee us?
It guarantees that the food is formulated to be complete and balanced according to established nutrient standards. It means, in theory, your pet could eat just that food and get everything they need in the proper ratios for that stage of life.
Okay, that sounds important. Much more important than whether it's called premium.
Way more important. It's the baseline check for nutritional completeness.
The material has such a brilliant, if slightly terrifying way to phrase this. It said, without that AAFCO statement.
You might as well be feeding your dog potato chips and regret.
I mean, it paints a picture, doesn't it?
Yeah.
It really drives home that nutritional balance isn't something you can just guess at.
Not at all. It's complex science.
Yeah.
So for you navigating that aisle, ignore the splashy words on the front, flip the bag over, and look for that AAFCO statement. That tells you it meets basic nutritional standards. Marketing doesn't.
Brilliant. Okay, next myth. This one gets close to home for a lot of us, I suspect. Myth number 4. Sharing table scraps is fine, maybe even nice. Just a little bit won't hurt, right? Look how cute they are when they beg.
Oh, the siren song of the puppy dog eyes. The claim is basically, it's just a tiny piece, what's the harm?
Yeah, I eat it, it must be fine.
Well, setting aside the fact that you're actively training your pet to be an incredibly annoying dinner guest.
Which is reason enough not to do it, frankly.
Agreed. But the much bigger issue, the serious danger, is that many perfectly normal human foods are actually toxic, even deadly to pets.
This is the crucial part. Things that are staples for us can cause major problems for them. We all know about chocolate, hopefully.
Hopefully. But the list is longer than many people realize. The sources specifically called out things like grapes and raisins, highly toxic to kidneys in dogs, onions and garlic damaging to red blood cells, xylitol, the artificial sweetener in peanut butter, gum, candy, incredibly dangerous.
It's scary how many common things are on that list. Macadamia nuts, alcohol, cooked bones that can splinter.
Exactly. Their bodies just don't process these things the same way ours do. And the source material used another one of those wonderfully blunt analogies here.
Lay it on me.
It said, basically, if it tastes amazing to you think rich, fatty, seasoned food, there's a good chance it's a potential death trap for your furry friend.
Oof. Death trap. Okay, message received. It really reframes the what's the worst that could happen question, doesn't it?
It does. The worst isn't just a bit of tummy upset. It could be pancreatitis, kidney failure, severe poisoning, a frantic rush to the emergency vet, huge bills.
Yeah. Suddenly that little bit of leftover steak doesn't seem worth the risk at all.
Not even close.
Yeah.
Stick to their balanced food and designated pet treats. Safer for everyone.
All right, final big myth before we get to some specific questions. Myth number 5. More supplements equals better health. My pet needs fish oil and glucosamine and a multivitamin and probiotics and maybe all of them.
The supplement craze, it definitely mirrors human wellness trends, right? If a little is good, more must be fantastic.
Totally. Pile them on, maximize that health.
Except pet nutrition doesn't really work like that. The sources were very clear. If your pet is healthy and eating a complete and balanced diet, remember that AAFCO statement. They are likely already getting all the vitamins, minerals, and nutrients they need.
So adding more stuff on top isn't necessarily helping.
Not necessarily, no. And here's the important bit. It could actually be harmful.
How so? Can you overdo supplements?
Absolutely. You can create nutrient imbalances. For example, too much calcium can interfere with other mineral absorption and cause skeletal issues, especially in growing puppies. Too much vitamin D is toxic. Some supplements can interfere with medications. It's not a benign more is better situation.
Okay, so you're not just wasting money on stuff they don't need. You could actually be causing problems.
Precisely. The very strong recommendation coming through was this. Don't give your pet supplements unless they are specifically recommended by your veterinarian.
Why the vet specifically?
Because they can assess if there's a genuine deficiency based on blood work or clinical signs, or if a specific supplement might help manage a diagnosed condition like arthritis or kidney disease. They know the proper dosages and potential interactions.
Oh.
Self-prescribing based on Dr. Google or what your neighbor does, risky.
Gotcha. And there was another funny analogy for this one too, right? About multivitamins.
Yes. It said your dog probably doesn't need a daily multivitamin unless he's also running marathons and meal prepping on Sundays.
Love it. So for the average couch potato canine companion, probably not necessary.
Probably not. Trust your vet's assessment of whether a supplement is truly needed for a specific medical reason. It saves you money and, more importantly, protects your pet from potential harm caused by unnecessary additions.
Makes total sense. Now, before we wrap this up, let's tackle 2 very specific but common questions that came up. First, the big one for cat owners. Can cats be vegan?
Ooh, boy. Okay, so the claim, or maybe the hope from some folks, is that yes, cats can thrive on a carefully formulated plant-based diet.
But I sense a very large but coming.
A huge biologically fundamental but. The science is absolutely crystal clear on this. Cats are obligate carnivores.
Obligate carnivores.
Meaning they must eat meat to survive and thrive. It's not optional. Their bodies require specific nutrients like taurine, arachidonic acid, preformed vitamin A, certain amino acids that are either only found in animal tissues or are not available in a form they can use from plants. They cannot synthesize these things themselves.
So trying to feed them only plants is essentially starving them of essential nutrients.
Pretty much. It will inevitably lead to severe health problems, heart disease, blindness, digestive issues, you name it. And the source material had a prediction for the cat's reaction to being served tofu.
What was it?
That the cat might start plotting your demise.
Huh. Knowing cats. That feels disturbingly plausible. Okay, so definitive no on vegan cats.
Definitive, biologically mandated no.
Got it. Second specific question. Chicken and rice. Vets often recommend it for upset stomachs, right? So can I just feed my dog only chicken and rice forever? It seems simple and gentle.
Right, that's the thinking. It's bland, it helps settle the gut short term, so why not make it the permanent diet?
Yeah, seems logical.
But again, logic trap. While boiled chicken and white rice is great for a temporary bland diet for a few days during gastrointestinal upset, it is absolutely not a complete and balanced diet for the long term.
Okay, why not? What's missing?
A lot, actually. It's severely lacking in essential fatty acids, crucial vitamins like D and E, minerals like calcium and zinc. Basically, the full spectrum of nutrients a dog needs for overall health, strong bones, good skin and coat, proper organ function, everything.
So feeding only that long term would lead to serious deficiencies.
Without a doubt. Malnutrition, basically. Even if they seem okay initially, problems will develop over time.
And the funny consequence predicted by the source.
That your dog will eventually develop those deficiencies and then judge you silently for the rest of his life.
Ah, the silent judgment of a malnourished pet. A heavy burden to bear.
Indeed. So these two examples really drive home the point. Species appropriateness matters immensely. Cats need meat. And balanced means providing all the required nutrients, not just a couple of simple ingredients.
Okay, this has been incredibly clarifying. Let's just quickly recap the big takeaways.
Sounds good.
We've busted the myth that raw food is automatically best, it carries risks, and doesn't guarantee longevity.
Right. And grain-free isn't necessarily healthier, might even have downsides, and true grain allergies are rare.
Marketing words like premium or natural on labels, mostly fluff. Look for the AAFCO statement instead.
Definitely. And table scraps aren't harmless treats. Many human foods are toxic and dangerous for pets. Don't risk it.
Finally, more supplements aren't always better. Healthy pets on balanced diets usually don't need them, and too many can cause harm.
The core message really is, stick to scientifically formulated, balanced nutrition. Don't get swayed by fads, marketing hype, or random advice online.
And the number one piece of advice, echoed again and again.
Talk to your veterinarian.
Yes, they know your pet, they understand nutrition science, they are your absolute best resource, way better than a search engine or a persuasive advert.
Your vet can guide you on the right food, the right amount, and whether any supplements are genuinely needed for a specific health reason. Trust the professionals.
Absolutely. So, as we wrap up, here's a little something for you to chew on, pardon the pun. We've seen just how easily myths and misinformation can spread about pet nutrition, right? Often driven by trends or anxieties. Now, think about human health and diet for a second.
Yeah.
Consider all the conflicting advice, the miracle cures, the demonized food groups that cycle in and out of fashion. It's a minefield.
Totally.
So if it's that confusing for us, how easily can similar fads and myths take hold when it comes to how we care for our pets who can't even tell us how they feel? Beyond nutrition, what other areas of pet care training, grooming, behavior might be influenced more by popular trends than by solid, evidence-based practices? Something to think about.
That's a great point. Always question the why behind the advice.
Exactly. Okay, that brings us to the end of this deep dive into the world of pet food facts and fiction. Hopefully you're feeling a bit more confident in navigating those choices for your own furry family members.
Hope so.
Thanks so much for joining us, and we'll catch you on the next Deep Dive.